This is a vlog. 14th of March 2021. Sounds like a big year. Sounds like a lot of years. Yeah. It's been and gone. 2020 was just fucking awful. My name is Oliver Hickey. And I am currently going mad with writing a horror movie called Pestilence, and it's going to be made by wonderful, lovely students at the Met Film School in my year group, and it's going to be made. Whether it gets released or not is another story, but it's going to get made. And it's, I don't know, like however many days to a deadline. Deadline is blurred beyond all recognition. But there's a deadline coming, and yeah, I'm going to hit it. Going to hand in my shit, and it's hopefully going to be somewhat bearable. But it's tough. It's been tough. So I study at Met Film School, which is located in Ealing Studios, and I'm on my final year at the moment. It doesn't feel like a final year. It doesn't feel like I'm at film school. To be honest, we've been doing a lot of online classes, but it's not the same. Luckily, I'm living with someone who is in my year group, Mr. Max, and that's fun. I can see him every day, and we chat and have a giggle, and that's been really nice. And I'll be walking, to school with him, because he'll be in my class for 5 weeks doing a directing elective. We've just finished the screenwriting elective, and we've got 3 weeks coming up. 1 week which is a holiday, but no one needs a holiday. And apart from, essential workers, we definitely don't need a holiday. I definitely don't need a holiday, I should say. But it's more time to write. Yeah. Things could be worse. Things could be a hell of a lot worse. I have a laptop to record, to record audio for this on. I have a camera to shoot this on. I have, access to things and essentials. So it could be a hell of a lot worse. Yeah. And I feel pretty confident for the future, and eager, not necessarily too ready, because I've always felt like I should be more financially stable to be ready, but I do feel ready in some sense to go ahead and go on and do stuff. I think it's just the nitty-gritty stuff which I have trouble with. It's the kind of the detail work. Editing this, I'm not going to enjoy, I don't think. Not only will I be listening to myself talk, but you have to put the minutiae in a way. And it's not good in the world at the moment. There's a lot of bad things, and I think that is if you're living in a house in the middle of nowhere in the countryside, and you didn't watch TV or go on the internet or read newspapers, then you would be very blissfully unaware, or not blissfully unaware, who knows, but you would be, ignorant of everything that's going on in the world. And even just a basic, scrolling through YouTube or going on Instagram or Facebook, seeing people's stories on Instagram and seeing news thumbnails on YouTube, what's going on. And, yeah, the whole Sarah Everard thing is so dark and horrible and, nasty. My view is that, it's a horrible thing. I'm really sorry she's gone. A lot of people die every day, not many of which are publicised as much as as this person was, and it's brought up a lot of things against violence against women, which I think is, you know, important for us to be thinking about. If anything, it's important to have informed your average sort of male within the sphere of the internet and things like that. And you know, it's made me think about violence against women. I literally just watched Texas Chainsaw. Came out in 2013. It's like a sequel to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and stars Alexandra Daddario and one of the actors from Lost. I'm watching Lost as well at the minute. And that made me think about violence against women, and I, you know, picked up on male gaze and things like that. And being in the film industry, you know, in class we have talked about this, and you know, perspective and what we should and shouldn't do, but also what we choose to do and why we choose to do it. And yeah, it's not super psychological, but you know, one or two of the wonderful tutors we've had have touched upon these things and helped us think about them, and you know, opened our minds. And some don't, some just go by the book and cookie cutter, but I really enjoy the tutors who push us and make us think about things that we wouldn't have thought about, and make us do exercises, some of which I find uncomfortable, like thinking about your past and picking apart that as story beats and as important, like, well, not important, but as ideas. That's quite interesting. I always need to be doing something with my hands. Please tell me this has been in focus. Yeah, I think it is. Life is just such a weird thing at the moment. There's no sort of it feels like the majority of us have been kind of told to sit and wait and, you know, keep ourselves entertained, when a small majority of us have to work and have to continue to save lives and pardon me, to continue to go about their business. And in a way I feel lucky, because I'm not someone who is having to deal with immense pressure and stress, you know, like the key workers do, and the essential, you know, nurses and doctors and you know, everyone working at care homes and things like that, you know. But also, you know, you do have to think about on the other side, and it's maddening. It's maddening. It really is. It brings everything to the forefront, because, you know, when you go outside, you're outside and you're taking in everything. It's like being in a flotation tank or a sensory deprivation tank, and you're just left to your own thoughts and devices, and yeah, it really pushes you. For me, I was kind of in this state before lockdown with depression and not wanting to do anything. You know, everyone deals with depression in their own way. For me, it's like taking morphine, you know, without the actual high. It's a psychological morphine, and it just stops me from doing anything. But now, you know, I think I will go to the gym when gym's open, and, you know, push myself and do that, because this lockdown has just it's really set everything in stone. You know, when you're depressed and, you know, you weren't in lockdown, or I wasn't in lockdown, you know, I would feel that, yeah, I could go to the gym. I think the word there is could. But, you know, now lockdown is happening and it's lifting soon, and slowly but surely, you know, I think I should. rather than could, because, I don't want to be like this forever. And I think that's why I came to film school and joined up, because I didn't want retail to be my life forever. I didn't want that to be me. The only enjoyment I had in those years of sort of moving around with my mum, going from retail job to retail job, was acting and being in plays, and that really brought a new spark to my life. And I want to continue doing that if I move back down to Dorset. But yeah, forgot what I was talking about. Been awake for a while. It's now like almost 6 a.m. and I've been awake straight through from, I think I woke up at 12 a.m. yesterday. No. I woke up at 2 p.m. yesterday. So I'll try and push it to 24 hours and I don't know. But that's the thing. You don't, if you don't have a job to go to, and for me, I have deadlines, but I can't do it all at once. It has to be when I'm infused, which is a bad thing to say as a writer, because you need to press on and do it, but I haven't, got that skill yet. I think I'm still learning, or at least I've got to wait until I have energy and I'm not massively tired, because then I can properly go about doing things. Yeah. I tend to think a lot about movies. If I watch movies, I'll think about them. And I think it's the way people choose to depict the world, and it's escapism in that sense. I know a lot of movie lovers are also fans of books and fans of video games and anime and TV series and music and art, because we love escaping into another world. And I think people who find that they enjoy things which aren't creative in the sense of films and books and stuff, they're sort of okay with the world in a way, or at least they enjoy being in the world. And I think it's not white and dark, white and black. It's not light and dark. It's not hot and cold. People who like films don't not like sports. There's always a crossover. But I think maybe that's the thing with lockdown, actually. Maybe that now we've only been left with TV and sports. Maybe the film people are now kind of, looking at cycling. I started cycling and I really enjoy it, and I can push myself with it, and it's a bit dangerous on London roads, but I found enjoyment in that, and I think I'll find enjoyment in the gym, honestly. I've always been, go and do it and then nothing happens. But I think now, I actively want to make a change and work that into my weekly regime. If you get a gym membership, you're kind of free to go. And maybe that's the problem, actually, when I think about it. I get a kick of like, oh God, that means I have to go. But I think if you just push yourself, if I push myself, then I can get there eventually. Yeah. Don't know why I've enjoyed black coffee lately. Never used to, but now I don't mind a stiff drink, as it were. in a way you kind of want to pour your heart out. Right? That's the thing with me. I always say you, but I mean I. I always want to pour my heart out with these kinds of things, confessionals. But I think you've got to leave something for people to find out. You've got to leave some element of mystery. You know, I've asked a few people out lately, and I think half of it is me wanting to know if they like me or not, and me just, asking. Yeah, and that's been okay. I haven't had any yeses yet, but that's absolutely fine. Because everyone I've asked has, more or less said, I, cherish you more as a friend, and cherish is a bit strong. I want to be friends more than anything else, or just don't like you in that way. And I'm really happy in a way because it does free you. Someone said this to me. It does free you, so that you don't sort of fantasize about that person anymore, and you're not kind of imagining yourself with them. You can sort of move on with just being friends, and that's really good because then that kind of gives you a really good sense of what's going on, and where you stand, and where they stand with you, although you can't predict that all the time because, not a mind reader. And there's nothing to say that may not change in the future, it's, who knows, but it's good to know for the here and now, and yeah, it's good, yeah. People are just quite nice, so, most people I've asked out are really nice, and, some people not. Back in the day, but, no, yeah, it's cool, it is cool. It's cool, it's fine, I'm fine. Yeah. I wonder how other people live, like people who are a part of like groups who I really despise. I do wonder how they live. Like people in the Nazi Party who were, dedicated to that. You could. Such a weird topic to bring up, but like, again, I just watched Texas Chainsaw, and it was big on making, the kind of the white guy with the gun in Texas really cool looking, and oh, they've got a gun, they can go and do anything, and yeah, we're in the right, and yeah, blah blah, we can do whatever we want and shoot them. But like, you've got to wonder what people are like that are actually like, because the movie's dramatized, of course it is, but that idea has got to come from somewhere, and all of our ideas as writers and filmmakers come from life. Whether it's the most craziest sci-fi thing or whether it's, socio-realist thing, it comes from somewhere. It's weird in a way. I think that's why Louis Theroux does quite well. Remember his one on it's like it wasn't the Ku Klux Klan, but it was something in the American South, and he went there, and he went to the house of a sort of white supremacist, and his family were there, and literally when he was this guy who he'd met at a rally, I think, a white supremacist rally, or sort of guns rights rally or whatever it may have been. And he welcomed Louis into his house. Very friendly dude. Obviously there are hate things everywhere, like, Confederate flag or whatever they do with it, to show that they're who they are. But then as soon as the idea of Louis being Jewish came into this guy's mind, it's like a bipolar sort of switch clicked, and he was just another person. And I suppose we all have that in a way, in terms of like, if someone threatened my family, or, you know, if you're pushed against a wall, what do? Fight or flight? And either fight or flight, you become a different person. It's like the decision, and then, you know, fight or flight here, and then whatever you do, you're a different person. It's not like you're doing that. That looks weird. It's not like it's this and then this, because it's got to split off into two parts. It's got to become different things, different choices. And an argument could be made that those choices make us who we are. Yeah, and I do kind of do wonder. It's good to think. It's good to think. It is, though. It is. And I think if you only stay in your own bubble, you will become like that, and you'll follow what other people say and what they think and what they feel. And in a way, that's not living. It's just, you know, you're part of the matrix. You're stuck in a way. Do I think I'm better because I'm not? Well, you know, you could argue that I follow movies and franchises and Star Wars and things like that. And then, you know, that makes me a sheep in a way. Yeah, I think it really just goes to show that we are all similar. Any walk of life, you know, there is nothing which truly separates us. We're all the same. It really doesn't matter where you come from, you know, who your parents are, who their parents are, what country you come from, what your religious beliefs are. We're just meat and bone and blood and, you know, brain, muscles. It's all the same, you know, we're all the same. It's interesting that I'm writing a horror, because that's something which really challenges that ideal, or not ideal, but that thought that we're all the same. Because when you chop someone up, or you, it kind of pushes the psychology, it pushes the human condition to its breaking point. And whatever happens, and it's either entertaining, or it's shocking, or it's sad, or it's courageous. Yeah. And it's annoying in a way, because I get told, you know, to do things in a certain way, and kind of, you know, a lot of the mentoring I've been given, chosen mentoring, not by me, but by someone else, the mentoring for this movie. It's been kind of, this is the way you need to do things, and if you don't do this, then we're in trouble. And I don't know, you know, we had a wonderful masterclass with Charlie Brooker, who made Black Mirror, and many other things, Dead Set and Charlie Brooker's Weekly Wipe and things like that, Philomena Kunk. And he was answering questions, talking to good old Uncle Steve from that film, and we came to the point of the end, and he saw a question in the Zoom, and he answered it real quick, and he said something along the lines of, like, he's not sure how much he believes about the Sid Field kind of, you know, screenwriting books and following guidelines and hero's journey, and, you know, and that was nice, because, you know, yeah, it's good to know about a hero's journey, and it's good to know the basics, and it's good to know how to pick apart a script and how to comment on it and how to give good feedback, and, you know, how a movie ticks. But if you don't have the emotion, if I were to make up an analogy of like a movie is a clock, a movie is a clock. If I were to make up an analogy, a movie is a clock. You would need to know how the hand turns and how time passes and every intricacy, every detail about that clock. But I think what Charlie Brooker was saying, that if you don't have the emotional ability to tap into everything about that clock, how the time turns, what the time turning means, what happens when, it reaches midnight or 6 a.m. or whenever, you're not going to get it. And it's kind of, you can do it and you can make it, but yeah, I think something truly special is when you do understand how that clock ticks and why it ticks. And you don't necessarily need to know, it has to be here for that reason, and this is why, blah, blah, blah. I suppose that goes against everything I've just said, but more feeling than knowing. If you feel characters, then yes, you can argue that you feel characters through knowing how to make the characters feel, so you make the audience feel that way. But I think there is a sense of recognition between souls, if that doesn't sound wanky. But, if you allow your mind to go, Quentin Tarantino said something. He said, if you truly love cinema with enough passion, you can't help but make a good movie. And I think there's some element of truth to that, even though it's, kind of a bit sort of egotistical, but there is something to that, in that, your passion will come through and people will recognize that passion. Just got to put some passion in. See you later.